Looter shooters are my favorite type of PvE game. Doing missions where most of it is just blasting bad guys' faces in and then getting to the end where a whole bunch of loot just blasts your face in is extremely satisfying. Grinding for the perfect weapon or armor piece with the most optimal modifiers for your build just feels great in a way. While Warframe was that kind of game and Save the World 2, even if it's technically not a traditional looter shooter, Borderlands was my main jam. That shit was my peanut butter and jam kind of jam. While I do want to make a video on the Borderlands franchise at some point, I got an ad for a game, and while usually I couldn't care less about ads, crazy I know, this one caught my eye. Relic Hunters Legend, advertising itself as a top-down looter shooter with a goofy as hell art style. Pretty damn cool. And then I forgot about it. Oh my god. Until a few days after its September 25th release, where my eyes blasted straight out of my sockets and I copped it right then and there. Not gonna lie, I am extremely addicted to this game. No, I am not sponsored, please help me. But seriously, Relic Hunters is a super cool installment into the looter shooter genre that has so much potential, it's insane. So let's talk about it. Now, the Relic Hunters franchise has apparently been around for a while, an 8 years ago kinda while. It all started with Relic Hunters 0, which was the OG top-down shooter game. Then Rebels, which is the mobile version, and is only available on Netflix games for some reason. And finally Legends, released by the Brazilian dev team Rogue Snail on September 25th. Them being from Brazil doesn't matter, I just wanted to make the joke. Legends looks like the big game of this franchise, and I see some people call it a top-down Borderlands, and yeah, I kinda see it. I mean, minus the not so family friendly tone of its gritty art style and jokes, and the endless amount of blood, of course. That being said, while yeah, Relic Hunters looks insanely cartoony, it does have lots of charm in it, I feel like. I mean, I really like the art style they went with. It looks like a cartoon you'd be watching on the weekend when you were little, and it's great honestly. It shows in every gun, every map, every character with their bushy ass eyebrows, or their comically large shades. Relic Hunter's story is all about time travel. You start off as some college kid asleep in class. Then you bolt off and somehow wake up in a whole new place. Still that same college kid, but with a gun and no memories of how you got there. Sounds like a good time. Soon you find a donkey man stuck in a tree who politely asks you to take his jetpack back from these red fire dogs. Yeah, I don't know either, but at this point you were blasted maybe millions of years into the future to a destroyed Earth ruled by ducks. I just made it make even less sense. All you have to go on is a weird capsule marked 7 and your ability to jump back and forth from the past to the present in an attempt to piece together what undid civilization as you know it, and also when and why the hell did the ducks grow legs, and the donkeys, and the frogs,
Here we show you a close-up of a frog croaking,
and the crocodiles. Point is, Earth gone freaky. While the story isn't finished yet, so far I think it's pretty good. Voice acting is pretty good too. I mean, sometimes they do the whole guy says one word while text runs through the screen.
That kinda sucks.
But I can tell that there's still a lot of effort in that department. And maybe it's just my garbage humor, but there were some moments that made me chuckle, I'll admit. They got a few cutscenes in there too. Like, 2. I really hope to see more of these since it really does just give that cartoon feel. Now onto the rebels themselves. There's currently 5 that are playable. You start off with 7, who's super mobile and has great crowd control with his freeze, void bomb thing, and of course his punch. And everyone else you can get by simply playing through the story. Getting all these guys took like 6 hours, and that's not completely horrible considering you get them all for free, I feel like. And just know that this is coming from a guy that just reached tier 3 gear, but every character excels at one thing to the point of them being stupidly busted. Pinky is my favorite character since she's a punchy tank who's basically invincible without even trying. Her biggest problem though is that her ability damage definitely isn't the best. I mean, you actively nerf yourself using her ultimate. It's that bad. But other than that, she's pretty damn fun to play. And while Ace and Jimmy are actually able to die, One flies in the air and basically never gets hit, and the other kills everything before they can even pull out their gun. I haven't played Raph yet though because playing support is for nerds, but her damage or healing aura mechanic does seem pretty damn cool. The point is, none of these guys are so bad they're unplayable. It's really just all of them are so damn busted at what they do. In a way, that's perfect balance. The coolest part though, you can spec out these characters into completely different playstyles with the skill tree and buff their health, damage, or speed with the attributes tree. Now onto the shooting and looting stuff. There's a whole map full of various types of missions like payload escorts, defense, and elimination. From chests you might find around the area, you might get cash and various gear. Biome variety isn't the craziest. I mean, we got the snow biome, desert, beach, city ruins, and the giant crater. But the areas do look nice, and while some assets are definitely used more than once, it isn't too distracting. But I really hope we get to see other planets too, since these guys are always mentioning Anubis 8 and Pandora 10 and all of that. Relic Hunters loot rarity system is pretty interesting, as loot comes in tiers like tier 1, tier 2, up to 4. Because of this system, there isn't really such a thing as uncommon or common or epic, even if each tier still uses those colors. But don't get me wrong, in these tiers there's still different rarity types like regular, augmented, set, exotic, and legendary. Besides legendary, these rarities are just variants of the regular tier guns, like augmented, which gives your gear another modifier when you complete its little side quests. Set gear, which just gives more stats when you have 2 from the same set. Problem is there's only like 2. And exotic, which just stuffs your gear with modifiers. It's crazy. You can definitely make an argument for a lack of gear variety outside of this, even though there is a good amount of legendary gear in the game. And the problem with augmented gear sometimes is that while the extra mod is nice, sometimes the quest just won't complete. Like, I went 5 character levels with this gun, and no matter the amount of biomass I collect, the number just won't go up. Give me my crit chance.
Break my monitor, I swear.
This rarity system is pretty cool and gives regular weapons a little more power, but I feel like there can just be more, especially with exotic and set rarity gear. Honestly, I feel like exotics and sets should just be their own thing and not reskins of regular rarity gear. Another thing I really like is the enhancement system, which enhances your gear. Mad, I know. But also allows you to transfer all your levels to a completely new piece of gear, as long as it's the same type and tier for a mere 100 bounty. You literally never have to worry about saving materials for that one gun you want, since you can transfer all your levels whenever you want, wherever you want. It's amazing. All mats are also tiered, so you do have to start over when you get to the next tier, so it's not all frog legs and duck stew, but hey, it's an improvement. We like improvement. And then we got the grindier parts like gear score and rebel rank. Gear score just gives you better stats the more you upgrade your, well, gear, and rebel rank is a whole other system which goes up when you complete quests and entire chapters of those quests. Your rebel rank gives you more rewards when you level it up, and more importantly increases the max level of your rebels. You can complete lots of these chapters by just simply playing, but some chapters are character specific. So you would need to level up and use that character even if you aren't actually interested in them, which means more grind. Personally, it doesn't really matter to me since I play all these guys, but I see how it can get really annoying since you'll miss out on a lot of rebel rank and rewards if you don't. So a good looter shooter needs stuff to shoot at, and in this game there's a decent amount. There's Dukins, who are evil ducks and turtles, I guess. Commies, who are those weird dogs I was talking about before. And the Timekeepers, who are even weirder and we will not talk about. There's an alright variety of these guys, but I feel like down the line, the basic enemies can definitely get crazier. On the flip side, there's a lot of bosses, and the majority of them are genuinely interesting. You can mostly find them at the end of skirmish missions and in exploration missions, which are huge areas with multiple zones that you can explore. So bosses drop legendary gear, pretty cool. But some will also drop relic pieces. I mean, it's in the name. I only got 2 so far, the scanner and the cross. One gives you a damage aura every 10 seconds and the other reduces skill cooldowns when you apply an effect on an enemy. Relics are a complete pain in the ass to get your hands on though. You first need a blueprint, which you can usually find in these chests in exploration missions, then 3 other pieces. Some drop extremely rarely off of bosses, and others you can simply buy in different shops. but when you do get your hands on them, you can upgrade them even more to get more effects from them, so they're cool. And I don't really want to end this video on a semi-bad note, but I just can't ignore the lack of polish in some aspects, really just bugs. And look, you could say I have a good tolerance of bugs. I played Save the World, Paladins, Skyrim, like I'm kind of fiending for bugs, alright? And while I haven't gotten any absolutely game-breaking bugs like crashes and abilities being unusable, I wasn't able to avoid everything. For example, the jet boots bug. It's supposed to give you another charge of your mobility skill, except it doesn't even work unless you switch your boots to a different one and back. Then there's this beach turtle guy not having the pass, and a whole lot of ace shenanigans like him somehow falling off a cliff when using his jetpack. This guy does a whole lot of falling for some reason. That's kinda ass. But yeah, other than that, Relic Hunters, amazing game. Can't wait to see where it goes, and I hope it gets as big as other PvE games on the market right now. Currently it's like $15, but it should go free at some point. And for its sake, I really hope it does. Anyway, like, sub, hit that bell, all that, and I'll catch you later.